Welcome everybody to the end of the week here, the last day of Academy Super Week and the end of the first round robin. Yeah, Mazel, I know you can laugh at me. It's okay. I was a little early on that one, but welcome everybody for the final show of the week. It's been a long one, man. It's been a long one.
It has. It's been a fun one, though. It's our first super week. Super week. I keep wanting to say super weekend. But it's super week of the Academy split. It's been a fun one. I do want to catch us up before we get into the nitty gritty of what's been going on. Special shout out to Soul Strikes. It is his birthday today. Big one going out to you as the FlyQuest head coach. So happy birthday, Soul Strikes. Hope you get to see this. Hope you enjoy your birthday.
Goal.
But now, we got to get to the actual.
No more missed birthdays.
Yeah, no more missed birthdays. We ain't missing birthdays. You hold us accountable, all right? You hold us accountable, all right?
I'm still triggered for the fact that I missed Harry's birthday while I was interviewing him.
We're going to move past that, all right, Kangas? We're going to move past that.
All right, we'll move past that. And let's move into the storylines of the week, Mazel, because it's been a crazy one. We went into this week, and our general narrative around one team in particular, Immortals Academy, was, hey, this is a team that started off strong, and then they're struggling, and look what they've been able to accomplish in one super week already. This has been a massive bounce back for Immortals.
It absolutely has, and it's just exciting to see the team, turning it around, getting to talk to Chad, who was very excited to do the interview, and just being able to see a little bit of the mindset of the team is so interesting, and we get to see a little bit of that mindset because we're going to go ahead and bring up Pretty's tweet, I believe we have.
A shift in focus for the team. Ivern Mid has been exploding in popularity lately, and Immortals Academy jumped on it. Pretty saying, now this is the big Chad pick, I suppose. Surprisingly, even Chad is on their own team, but I guess the real Chad is the Ivern mid laner.
I think Chad knows. I think he knows.
Yeah.
I think it's just
competition.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do have to bring up the fact that this is a pick that has been popularized a lot from the Cloud9 camp. They're one of the teams that has been pushing for this heavily, and I actually had a chance to chat with Joey about that because they gave Cloud9 Academy their one loss of the week so far, and this was his thoughts on Sinner champions and his perspective on them.
I mean, we've been playing the Ivern a lot, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I'd probably say I'm a bit of a Soraka guy myself, though.
But that's not a Sinner champ. That's in the church. That's what they're playing. This has to be something that they don't want to play. A Sinner champ.
Oh.
I'll give mine's Pantheon
support. I don't like any of those champs.
Man, I thought we could get some spice.
I'm sorry.
All right.
No,
well, I guess
I'm part of the church, full and through.
It's awesome hearing that. I apparently am the only one that plays Sinner Champions on the broadcast. Everyone, actually, I think Rafa, he plays Rek'Sai too. So there we go. He's my brother.
He's also gonna have a video coming up soon, unfortunately for him. We did try to tap into our mad magical senses here. I do have a video from Magical I want to bring up, highlighting a specific player in Yuji. So let's go ahead and roll that.
Detective Magical here on the case to explore the young jungler from Mongolia. Yuji started out with climbing to Challenger on various servers with over 100 ping on each of them. EU, NA, the Chinese super server, all conquered. If you watched the Diamond interview on Wednesday, you would have been able to gather that same information. Wouldn't make me much of a detective if that's all I had. Same with talking about how he played collegiate for Bethany Lutheran College before joining FlyQuest. Now, that's why we have to dive into the different aspects that we have seen from Yuji while here in Academy. The first few weeks weren't too kind to Yuji. His stats didn't impress, he was towards the bottom of much of it, but like Diamond said in his interview, this is a player that learns fast. Comparing those first 3 weeks to just this week alone, not only has FlyQuest been able to double their win count, but their jungler sits at the top of many stats lines for this week. KDA, first. Gold diff at 10, first. XP diff at 10, fourth. Okay. Kill participation, third. Quite the jump. Watching his early game, this is a player that plays fast, and as the kids say, high tempo. From one lane to the next, constantly ganking to set up his lanes for success. Look out for his Kiana and Lee Sin to set the pace for FlyQuest games. If we're really lucky, maybe he just might spring a surprise Zed our way to really style. If FlyQuest wants to keep rising, we'll be down to Yuji's exponential growth.
Always love getting a little bit of investigative reporting there.
Yeah.
Are
What do you think he uses the magnifying glass for? Is that just to like spot the jungle pathing or something?
Exactly. It's gotta be. I'm just waiting for the Academy Cinematic Universe to come out because we're starting to build up some very interesting ones.
We're building it right now. The Yuji storyline is fantastic to follow because this is a player, like Magical said, this week in particular, he has been looking clean in his play, and the team has been coming together. Another big storyline that hasn't happened yet, but is actually going to happen today, is one that we've been keeping our eye on for quite a while, Mazel, and that one is Dokla. This player from CLG Academy has been absolutely stomping, and this is the end of the round robin. There's one top laner that he has not faced yet who is actually up next on the docket for them. So we actually had Cubby sit down and explain what the stakes of this truly are.
Has been the king of the top lane throughout the first round robin of Academy, and Big Dokes knows it.
Honestly, the biggest competition in Academy would be Darshan for now. It's like C9 looks like they're on a roll, but everyone else is looking like whatever. And yeah.
Overconfidence? Well, the numbers back him up. Throughout 16 games of Academy, Dokla has 9 solo kills and is averaging a gold differential at 15 of 1,316. The only team with a higher gold diff at 15 is his own. He has been the most dominant player in Academy, and halfway through the season has made his competition, in his words, look like whatever.
The hook with the depth charge on top of Dokla. Immediately, the Chain of Corruption was a little too early coming in from first, but that's a lot of damage with the poke from those piercing arrows. Dokla has the lantern on the other side, but he wants to fight. He's got the cataclysm damage to be able to back that one up.
The only top laner Dokla hasn't faced? Well, that would be Surdy, who finished 5th, 6th in Proving Grounds in 2021 spring with EGP. But after failing to qualify in summer, the only team that considered Surdy for an Academy position was EG. A player that lacked consistency in amateur, Evil Geniuses was betting they could get the most out of the former rank 1 player from the Oceanic server. And as Surdy's nerves have settled, the rookie has started to shine.
Academy matches, the nerves, especially yesterday, were, a lot, just because I'm versing some of my friends, the other Academy top laners. I know them pretty well, and I want to do well.
While EGA's 500 record has been riddled with inconsistency, Surdy has been stepping up big, and he's having success on more champs and styles. Dokla will be his toughest test yet, but it's a great opportunity for Surdy to show he's up to any challenge.
It's going to be insane, man.
It really
That
is.
stat that the only team that has a bigger gold differential than Dokla individually is his own team. That is absolutely insane right there. And also, shout out to Surdy, who sounds and looks so much like Broxa that I was so confused in that interview when he first came up. I was like, wait, are we sure
I think
this
we
is
might
Surdy?
need to get those glasses checked or whatever you used to see. But it is talking from Dokla or talking to Dokla, like the confidence radiating from this guy is insane. So CLG Academy, sky's the limit apparently. And a lot of what we saw in day number 2 was reflective of confidence building for teams.
Yeah, and I'd say that Surdy has probably had his best individual performance this week. And a lot of players in Super Week feel like they're peaking right now in their individual performance, which just makes this final day that much more exciting.
It absolutely does. And we're going to go ahead and toss up the schedules here and get a little breakdown of the action that we're thirsting for here on the final day of our first Super Week. Oh my God, I can't believe we're already here.
15 best of 2s across 1 week. That's a lot of games. Immortals, Academy, Progressive taking on Golden Guardians, CLG versus EG, and then Team Liquid versus TSM. That's going to be on twitch.tv/Academy here. Obviously, my eyes are going to CLG EG, but Mazel, let's talk about your stream.
I got some pretty hype matchups over there on twitch.tv/FaceItTV. For our last day of week number 4, we got Dignitas taking on 100 Thieves, C9 taking on FlyQuest. It's going to be some tough title matches. You know, both FlyQuest and C9 coming into the week hot and heavy with the 2-0s, and then having some interesting turns outs of day 2. So I'm really excited for that one specifically.
And if you didn't know what the schedule was already, it's probably because you're not following the one Twitter account that you need to follow right now.
You have to.
At Path
You literally
LCS.
have to.
You have to. We're commanding it right now because this is where you'll get all your updates on Academy schedule, standings, as well as everything going on in the amateur scene as well. everything in the development of North American talent. If you're interested in following the stories of these players, then tune into the streams and also make sure that you're following that account.
It is so crucial, and just to be able to like have a little bit of that community building there. It's nice to have a home for it all finally after so long of it just seemingly being everywhere. So
I haven't gotten flamed on the account once this week.
Hey, that's a milestone.
This is improvement.
Kangas. That's a milestone.
Yeah.
I like it. But I believe it's time, Kangas. So, we wanted to send off the split in style here for the final day of Super Week. So I believe we came up with a little something, a little bit of art, maybe a little bit of culture for Academy.
I'm not known for my arts and crafts, everybody. So please don't judge me too hard. But for our stream split, Mazel, are you ready?
Let's do it. We got art, baby.
All right.
It's Academy. It's Super Week.
Pull up both streams. Twitch.tv/Faceit.
You have to.
Twitch.tv/Academy. Stream split now. Hello and welcome back, everybody, for our first match of the day, for our final day of Academy Super Week here. I got Cubby and Rafa on the cast with me today, and I got that one correct this time. I was a little confused yesterday, but happy to have the two of you back. And Rafa, I'm liking the necklace.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, La Tigers had such great drip yesterday, so I had to make sure that I got to keep matching it. She almost outdripped me, so,
You got some competition.
I know. Dude, between her and Raz on the LCS, I'm just like, I'm losing the race right now, so.
I see, you can't lose a race that you don't elect to be in. That's my theory.
Cubby's instead just joining the race of the bomber jacket. Actually, both of you do. I swear, we don't even plan this, but every time I'm like inverted from what the two of you are wearing. But enough of our fashion, and let's start talking about the games ahead of us. Immortals Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy to kick off the day. We already talked about them a little bit during the pre-show. Rafa, Immortals Academy with a turnaround after a really rough week 2 and 3, but hey, they're looking pretty good right now.
This is by far one of the strangest teams to witness in Academy, because you're absolutely right. Week 1, when we had kind of a preset notion that, oh, this is probably going to be a middle of the pack team, maybe on the bottom half because they have 2 new players, while the hype around them is warranted. It's going to take a while to develop. They come out the gate full steam ahead, 4-0 weeks. We're like, oh my God, Immortals are going to be the greatest team ever. And then 0-4 a week, and it's like, oh God, what did we do? Like, what happened, right? And so now it's just a back and forth bouncing process as Immortals Academy trying to solidify their identity, trying to find which pieces they can consistently play to. And really, a lot of the times, we're looking to Chad in the jungle. Chad has just been, I mean, it's in the name. He lives up to it. And when you get him these huge carry champions like the Viego, and a really cool adaptation in the Cloud9 Academy series yesterday, getting him on something like the Gwen that matches the amount of resources and income he's getting to something Malice is known for so far in his 2 weeks.
Yeah, we can actually take a look at some of those clips here. As Cubby, I want to hear your thoughts on Immortals Academy too, because I was going into the split excited about this team, but apparently I was the only one. So they've been a little underperforming compared to my expectations, but what are your thoughts?
I think that for Immortals, I want to kind of emphasize what Rafa said about this team trying to find an identity, because they've played around with that a lot in this Super Week. Pretty all of a sudden, 2 Ivern games and a Zillion coming out, so I know that they ended up beating C9 with it, or at least splitting their matches. But I think that this change of identity fits the team, because Concept is someone that has the most unique champion pool out of every single player that we have in Academy. The Scion, the Mundo, the Singed, this is very different than what a lot of other top laners are playing. And I think it's forced Immortals to play through bot, but by hopping on these Enchantresses, it's given them another carry threat in empowering Chad and empowering the other players on the team. So I think this identity is kind of covering up some of the shortcomings of IMT's build, but I am a fan of the fact that they are showing more flexibility, and it's not only showing in, their better play, but also starting to show in the standings, as they are 3-1 this week. Same with GGA.
And props to Coach Nightshare as well for utilizing their champ pools, the Zillion into Hecarim. I was a big fan of that yesterday against Cloud9.
It was really nice.
That was really cool. But they're opposite Golden Guardians Academy on the Rift. And Cubby, I want to bring it back to you, because this is a team that you're feeling pretty good about right now. They are second in the standings, one of, I believe, 3 teams that has an actual positive win rate right now. There's so many clumped at that 8-8, but hey, they're a little above that.
And I know that in the pre-show, you guys were talking a lot about IMT and the fact that they are playing these Enchantresses and switching things up. But I think Golden Guardians have actually been the hotter team, and it is a team that we have higher expectations for. 4 of these players on the roster played in LCS last year. Ryoma, of course, only in spring, but still someone that we know can play at that LCS caliber. And my criticism for this team earlier in the year was that despite all the games they were playing, they hadn't really found an identity yet. And I think that they are starting to find one, and a lot of that is being built around Ryoma in the mid lane. The iconic Diana enables him to play stuff like Lucian and Yasuo that he's been very proficient on. And I think on top of that, then you have him playing the roamers, which he's always been incredibly effective on. And then some of his control mage play, which is originally what Ryoma was known for back in the Oceanic region, that's still been outstanding. So I think that this has started to give GGA that identity that we've been looking for. It is a team we have higher expectations for, given the fact they have 4 LCS players playing in Academy this split. But the improvement is good. And they are sitting second in the Academy standings right now, off of their 3-1 Super Week
they
so far.
had a very strong performance yesterday against TSM Academy in particular, as we can take a look at some of that. That was not particularly close, Rafa. Golden Guardians came out the gate, but this is actually also a look at their earlier match, which was tougher against that first place CLG.
This was actually just such a great fight and kind of vision play from Golden Guardians Academy. They recognized that CLG were being really disrespectful in that rotation back into their side of the map, and immediately when Prismal doesn't have summoner spells in that instance, the Golden Guardians, this is going to show how all these reps are finally coming to fruition, coming to light in terms of just being able to see plays on an instant and being able to react. And it's been a little difficult getting some of their frontline pieces, which Tony Top is now starting to pick up more. Although in the past, Tony Top has kind of been known for being more of a split pusher, having a kind of a strange champion pool similar to Concept in the past, but now more on the engage side, and he's linking and syncing that up with the rest of the team.
His Ornn won him that game yesterday.
Yeah. I think that the performance from Golden Guardians Academy has been... they're one of the teams that I think more so than others we've seen so far, the pieces are coming together. It isn't necessarily, an individual pop-off performance, even though, yes, things like that Ornn might have been the reason that they won, but it's a team coming together and actually playing around these individual performers and everyone synergizing together. Kind of like FlyQuest we also have seen doing so this week. So I think it's cool that now in week 4 we can have this kind of temperature check and go back to this and see how is everybody doing? Because this is no longer the first couple weeks. This is the end of Super Week. We're expecting teams to start putting those puzzle pieces together. And now we're going to see what that piece looks like here as we send it to Champ Select for game number 1 between Immortals Academy and Golden Guardians. So Rafa, take it away.
Appreciate you, Kangas. Game 1, Golden Guardians Academy and Immortals Academy. Something we haven't done in a while, Cubby. We haven't gotten predictions out for matches, and I think we need to be a little spicy because, I've already lost one of my bets with Kangas yesterday. It was not even. It's just I had to make it through 2 games, but it's okay. I have to pay Kangas back on something for next week. I'll have to.
The church failed you, Rafa.
We'll address that. We'll address that later.
Or did it not fail you because the church was beat by the church? Because Pretty was playing the Zillion.
I can accept that narrative. But now moving on to Immortals Academy and Golden Guardians Academy, already some of the aforementioned Sinner champions have been banned away. And the Renekton and the Zin's out because, well, may not work for everyone. Some teams do like having that priority in the early game, and it's a really great foundation for the rest of the Golden Guardians to build upon. But something that was hotly contested for Immortals yesterday was that Gwen, as Chad put up an impressive performance with the rest of the squad.
So with the Enchantresses coming into the mid lane, we have seen Gwen raise in priority because she can be flexed to the jungle. We have seen Chad play that already. Concept can play the Gwen, but we actually expect this to go in the hands of Chad. Now, the interesting thing is that I think these 2 teams actually play rather similarly, which in a sense is a bit of a compliment towards Immortals. Keep in mind, Immortals, they have new rookies. I mean, this is a build that Golden Guardians really went with last year. When you think of Golden Guardians Academy roster from 2021, Yunbi was new.
Yeah.
Rosethorn was new. We don't see that now from Golden Guardians Academy. It's been the returning LCS players, some players that we are more familiar with, much like the build that Immortals had in the summer of last year with players like Viper and Anda. So I think Immortals has actually been doing pretty well with these rookies. And I want to see how these 2 teams match up because a lot of it's centered around the bot lane. Concept, playing those tanks, is used to being Sackside top. Tony Top is averaging being down gold at 15 because he's been playing things like the Ornn. He's had a couple games that he's struggled in lane as well. But Stixxay and Arrow have been the big carries for this team, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they match up.
Right now, Jinx is still up on the table for Stixxay to grab to pair it up with this Thresh. Now, when the Thresh is not normally here, we have seen other support picks come out, such as either full-on engage supports like this Leona or another Enchanter's support. But because Karma was already banned by Immortals, they're trying to limit down the available pool with that Jinx lock-in. Nothing too different from what we are expecting. Now, even though we have high suspicions that this Gwen is going to Chad, there are still certain matchups that this could be flexed towards the top side, but you would be, as Immortals Academy, saying, hey, we actually don't want this high-income investment jungler going into Chad's pockets. We want him on something that gives us more agency during the early game. That is a decision they'll have to make as we get through the second ban phase.
And I was teasing the fact that we were looking forward to Stixxay versus Arrow. This is a great setup for Stixxay already, and something that honestly we see a lot on blue side team comps, with the first pick Thresh and following that up with something like Jarvan Aphelios or Jarvan Jinx with the trade. GGA has this on the red side because of the priority on this first pick Gwen. So these are some of the little ways that the Enchantress mids are kind of changing up our meta. And I want to see how Immortals can try and empower this Gwen, because when you look at a Thresh Jarvan duo with a Jinx, that's such a stable front line. You already have really good peel for this immobile carry, and Golden Guardians now have a lot of opportunities to try and follow this up with even more peel. My eyes go towards something like a Victor, which Ryoma could be setting up for in the mid lane. Corki's still up, but of course that did see some nerfs on 12.3, so we really haven't been seeing Corki anymore. But I want to see if they can continue to build around Stixxay, because he, the player coach, has been playing fantastic in this season, averaging being up over 500 gold at the 15-minute mark. I think that he has quietly put together a very nice first round robin of Academy, and I want to see if he can continue that against a former LCS MVP, a former LCK champion.
Golden Guardians, when Ryoma is on something like the Sylas Heat or an Ari, for example, as well, he puts up huge performances and can really warp the early game into his favor. But Golden Guardians, as you've already pointed out, that since there's a stable front line and the makings of a strong 5-on-5 team fighting composition, Orianna is going to be the blind pick for Ryoma in the mid lane, allowing there to be a little bit more control in these team fights, being able to hold choke points with that ball. Watch for shockwave potentials, as Ryoma won the Summer Proving Grounds tournament off of that impressive shockwave against Team Liquid Academy.
And Oriana's been a go-to for him in this early season with 3 plays and a couple wins to go alongside that, including an impressive performance against Copy, where Golden Guardians just bodied them in that 2-0. Of course, they were 1 day of practice, but C9 has put it together quickly after that. And Rafa, this John Hover, we have yet to see this.
Don't worry,
Okay,
I've done the same thing early on in the academy.
I saw him playing it in Champs Queue.
Still don't get baited. Besides, there's plenty of other things to talk about as well now that the Wukong has been slotted in. More teamfight power, right? Cyclone added on top of the Cataclysm. It's a great ball carrier for Shockwave as well. There's so much CC, and because there's a lot of burst on the initial engage, that sets up beautifully for 6-8 to easily get resets and just rip through the rest of the fight.
I think looking at both of these team compositions, Golden Guardians, a little bit more emphasis on that early game given the Jarvan. So I really want to see if Iconic can get out on the map and try and make some of these plays. And I want to see if he can do it around mid, because Pretty ended up taking this Corki. And this is the Corki that has been nerfed, so the package doesn't appear until the 10-minute mark, and it's now on 5-minute intervals instead of 4. And Oriana is a lane that we've seen Syndra, Victor, and Ryze be somewhat preferred, but we've also seen some Oriana being able to bully out the Corki in the early stages of the game. And I want to see if Ryoma can do this against Pretty, because if Corki gets behind, there is a chance you can take him out of the game, and all Corki really brings to the table is damage. There is really nothing else that's super impressive in his kit. So I want to see if Golden Guardians can try and shut down Pretty in the mid lane. Chad is going to be able to make a big impact early on this Gwen, and he's not going to be empowered like he has been with a Zillion or an Ivern. So I think this is a nice draft for Golden Guardians, and if they get ahead, it's going to be really difficult.
And I
want to
talk about a little bit the differences in how these two 5-on-5s compositions play out, because Golden Guardians, we already highlighted, there's so much ways to engage fights. There's a lot of crowd control, there's standard burst, and then there's a late game ADC that can rip through the rest once the fight has already broken out. Very standard. Immortals have different flavors and they have different pieces, right? You have this Urgot, which can be a teamfight menace if you pick a priority target with the Fear Beyond Death. You get an AoE Fear, but it's a little bit more you got to be selective on which targets you pick. And then, of course, Chad, you don't offer as much utility as Gwen, as Concept should not be threatened here. Iconic, yes, level 1, swag flag. It's going to be annoying, but no CC from the rest of Golden Guardians to really catch him out.
I mentioned Concept's unique champion pool, specifically the Mundo, Singed Scion. Didn't mention the Urgot, something else that he has up his sleeve, and in 2 plays, he has won both of those games for Immortals, as Immortals is sitting at 8-8. This is the last round robin that we have in Academy, as our Super Week will wrap that up. The only team that IMT has yet to face is Golden Guardians, and I think they'd like to get a couple wins to try and break that 500 mark, as we have 5 teams sitting at 8-8 in Academy. That's how close these teams have been in the early season. A lot of that I can credit towards sloppy play, but we are starting to see some of these teams clean it up. We are starting to see some identities form, and I want to see if Immortals can use some of the changes they've made this past week in practice and some of the new comps they have drawn up to make sure that they can try and take down Golden Guardians, who are also playing much.
I want to cover a couple things as we are now onto the Rift in terms of the game starting. Iconic already clearing out that red buff will be spotted on the Raptors here, thanks to a ward placed by Pretty, when the rest of Golden Guardians were traversing and getting some early vision in the bushes for Tony Top's laning phase. The sacrifice for it is obviously now Iconic will be spotted, as he more than likely will traverse towards that Grump, or the Grump camp. This blue buff did also get a ward put on it by the Immortals bot lane. So, Immortals Academy, one of the things they have to dodge out upon is that the difference between a Gwen jungle versus a Jarvan jungle, you don't have as much agency in terms of making strong ganks in the first few minutes of the game. Jarvan, flag and drag, knock up, boom. You're trying to protect these lanes from getting ganked or losing out on summoner spells and having major laning disadvantages so that Chad can pretty much safely farm up and then get an experience lead, get an income lead, and then come out as a strong presence in these mid-game team fights.
And as we look at the map, it's no surprise that Chad is going for the full clear on the Gwen, and the further that Gwen can get into the game, the better she is, as level 6, much needed for Gwen to start to be able to make a big impact on these ganks instead of just bringing damage to the table. As we look at Iconic's first move, he has skipped over the Krugs. Crab does spawn here in a couple seconds, but just hovering bot, making sure that his bot lane isn't going to get wrapped around on by Chad, and it's looking like a double Crab setup early for Golden Guardians, as Chad will have to seed both of these due to lane prio and due to the strength of Jarvan in the early stages of the game.
Tony Top also getting a nice shove in as well, making sure that Concept would not be able to rotate for the Crab in case Chad wanted to contest for it. But Chad is content just farming out the rest of this entire jungle on the bottom side of the map. He's staying here making sure that Iconic isn't looking for a delayed gank timer. And so far, the first few minutes have been pretty tame. We haven't seen much action. A lot of the laning states are going the way of Golden Guardians as they're getting major league pushes, but Immortals Academy, I think if you're this squad, you are just trying to survive this early game with as little bleeding as possible.
I think the big spike for them is going to be getting pretty to some of those item spikes, typically the evolved Miramana, as the Corki. As this game goes on, I think Corki is going to be the big difference maker for Immortals, as that is the piece that can help IMT try and outscale this well-rounded composition from Golden Guardians. And as you highlighted in Champ Select, Mark, it's going to be a lot about Tony Top finding the flanks on Wukong, something that Tony has actually shown a lot of proficiency on in Academy, especially on champions like the Camille so far in the season.
Tony Top bringing out a little bit of a new flavor for us, at least in terms of his Academy split season. Oh, this is cheeky from Chime. Just...
He's threatening.
If you remember the game against Cloud9 Academy, how they were able to trounce King and Isles so many times, it was the Jarvan taking the Dark Passage over that particular wall on red side. But Chime trying to scare and now play the mind games with Arrow and Joe, because next time he does it, they are going to have to be careful if Iconic is actually there.
As we have a very quiet early game here, Rafa can highlight in the top side Concept as you get that first base and now TP off. Actually had 2 points in Q and 2 points in W at level 5. So wondering if that's something on purpose. I know that one of the better Urgot players that we have is Alorum.
Oh, baby. That's a lot of stuns and a lot of damage coming out from Immortals already. Chad here early before Iconic makes his way on the second round. First blood to Chad.
These are synced jungle timers. It was just GGA trying to push up, trying to get that wave in, and not able to do it as IMT. They hit that really nice timer thanks to Chad. This Gwen clears so quickly, and Golden Guardians just not respecting Gwen, potentially being there on the second clear. Guess what? She is. Chad gets the punish.
I think skipping the Krugs for Chad, normally going for just a second additional full clear, realizing that Golden Guardians wanted to get the shove in. Great communication from Arrow and Joey to set that one up easily for Chad so that he can make great use of his time onto the bottom side, delaying that final second rotation clear out. But Iconic, because he is here after the aftermath. Golden Guardians will be able to pick up first Dragon here. They're still behind slightly in gold, but they still have a window within the next 10 minutes to really make that great first push as this team fighting composition.
And I want to see what they do around the Rift Herald, because with Dragon off the table, they could try and push for Rift. Both teams will have their sights on it. And I like Golden Guardians' fights earlier in the game, mostly due to the fact of how hard Chad can scale in the 1v1. Once that Nashor's Tooth is picked up, Gwen is able to clear like it's no business, shredding through these camps, and her dueling gets rather strong as well. So I really want to see if Golden Guardians can hit this early timer hard, take advantage of some of the strength they have taken in their solo lanes, and also in the jungle matchup. And you can see, as we are getting closer to the Rift Herald, IMT making sure that Pretty is able to get this wave in so he gets a nice reset. And Ryoma really fighting to try and make sure this wave stays under his tower.
Wow.
Ooh, that was close.
Chad almost threatening Ryoma's life with the needlework. As Pretty getting his reset in. Chad is willing to sacrifice jungle resources, but flashing immediately from Ryoma, and oh man. And I respect what Chad was trying to do, but just a little overextended and a little too long on the play. Iconic and Ryoma punish.
Okay, yes, they get Chad, but they burn 2 ultimates for it. And this actually opens up a window where Immortals, that they want to hard rotate for the Rift Herald, they would have the ult economy advantage. And so if Immortals are able to take this Rift because of those ults being blown mid to just get the kill on Chad, I don't necessarily think it's worth it, as Iconic gets found.
No flash, no cataclysm. This is a very weak Jarvan in comparison to Arrow and Joey. They don't... I think it's only Moonlight Vigil burn from Immortals bot lane. Chime and Stixay seeing if they can potentially collapse. Death Sentence will not connect. No fight will come from this. Immortals Academy get out safely.
So Chad has actually flipped his jungle clear after getting killed from bot to top. Not going for the Herald, as they have seen Iconic chunked. Chad does not want to try and push things in that direction, and I'm curious to see if IMT try and attempt this, as the Cataclysm and Shockwave are getting closer and closer to coming off the cooldown. I don't think IMT want to hit the Herald in this window. Could still be scared of a possible rotation, and instead, Golden Guardians actually might catch IMT by surprise. Iconic hovering bot. They do have the Lantern.
Chime doesn't have flash. He would have to Hex Flash from a bush, so would be quite delayed on the engage, but Iconic is moving through Fog of War. Immortals Academy, they haven't spotted Iconic yet. They might have an idea depending on where Gwen or Chad might be communicating to them. Arrow and Joey already just playing safely back on forward. Chime looking for the Death Sentence, but oh my god, Arrow, the tower is going to interrupt the Death Sentence. It does still get the flash out of Joey. Meanwhile, Ryoma, now he's the one that's in trouble. No flash available. He has Shockwave, but he needs to land it on both members. Might stall off enough time that he gets out safely.
IMT, they're not going to look to try and chase this into the bot side. Iconic has Lantern.
Joey's still not level 6, so no Solar Flare available. Arrow gets chained up into the Chompers, has to flash away from the Super Mega Death Rocket while it still connects, but does not go down. There's a lot of fighting before back and forth between these two teams, but not many deaths happening.
And Herald is still being left up. Now, Iconic has the ultimate back. Ryoma will have it back after he resets and clears out one of these waves. This could be another window where Golden Guardians could try and look for the Rift Herald, but it seems like Immortals, they have been playing a lot more of these scaling compositions this week, and it's interesting to see them almost ignore the objective, just knowing that they aren't strong enough to fight yet, knowing that it's a bad window for them to play in the GGA. I think this has been one of the reasons we're starting to see Immortals put more and more wins on the board, because they have an understanding of how to play these comps better than what the enemy team is, and that's something that we've seen be very advantageous for C9 in both Academy and LCS. The fact that they have this in-house meta that they have practiced, they know these timers better than their opponents, and they're trying to hit them. And now we see Chad with that completed Asher's Tooth, finally feeling strong enough to try and take this Rift Herald.
He knows Ryoma's backing in sync with his own mid laner in Pretty, and that's really the big member that he is scared about. Tony Top, if he comes over, Cyclone might be a little dicey to deal with, but Concept would be able to rotate on over as well with Fear Beyond Death available. So really the big threat would be Iconic, and Jarvan against Gwen at this point in the game with Nash's Tooth available. Chad is feeling just strong enough, but the second dragon coming up in the next 10 seconds, the Rift Herald being publicly taken down across the Rift, gives Golden Guardians a moment and a window to set up for the objective first.
And I really think that Golden Guardians taking the solo kill on the Chad mid threw off that Herald timer. I think that those ultimates would have been better used by just threatening the fact that you could take Shelly, because Chad would have had the reset after that mid push about 3 minutes ago where they got the solo kill. Instead, they burn 2 flashes, 2 ults to take him down, and they lose Shelly for it. So I want to see if Golden Guardians can try and bounce back at this dragon, keep the stacking going. Those flashes from Ryoma and Iconic are almost up, and I think they're looking for a fight.
At most, it would only be a 4v4. Tony Top and Concept don't have unleashed teleports quite yet. So if they came, they would have to teleport to a tower first and then take the long walk, and by then, the fight is probably already over. So for Golden Guardians, they know that they are relying on the strength of a Cataclysm Shockwave combo to get these engages off picture perfectly against Immortals Academy, but they have a lot of tools to be able to get out. Arrow, no flash, could be the target that Golden Guardians Academy look for if they approach the pit.
Oh, and meanwhile, Concept maybe going for the 1v1.
Actually going to be fine despite taking a tower shot. Tony Top trying to interrupt it. But because Concept still keeps fear beyond death, they'll have it for the next one. Meanwhile, 4v4. Iconic does secure the dragon. He lands onto Chad. He doesn't want to pop the trigger quite yet. No Cataclysm coming out. They've already gotten the dragon, and that's all that they need.
And if Iconic isn't going to use Cataclysm or Tony Top isn't coming on a flank, Golden Guardians aren't going to be able to engage onto Immortals. So they are able to secure that second dragon. We do now have the Hextech Soul on the Rift, Rafa, so a very powerful soul for the side of Golden Guardians to try and secure earlier in the game. As we mentioned previously, we do prefer the scaling and the range of IMT as this game moves forward. So still want to see if Golden Guardians can hit these early timers, and the fact that they are at a slight gold deficit now is not a great sign moving forward. So curious, once we have these unleashed teleports, if we start to see Tony Top posturing for some of these flanks and angles that could really catch IMT off guard and net Golden Guardians a big win while their champs are still rather strong early.
And if you don't have teleports, you now have portals across the entire Rift to make those flanks
True.
possible. It does make
We've got
setup
the tech.
Exactly. Yeah, situational tech that has now just popped in thanks to RNGesus, so based. The rest of Immortals
and
Academy gonna...
Jace.
Yeah. From Arcane. Immortals Academy,
We
crashing
get
this
paid
Rift
every
Herald
single time we
in.
make an Arcane reference.
You are... Oh my goodness. I'm going to reach across and send more coffee your way just to spite you, because for some reason you don't like receiving gifts.
I don't know how to respond to that. Now, what I will say is Golden Guardians did just receive the gift of Shelly out of their bot turret. Going to take some plates for Immortals, and past the 14-minute mark, Immortals have pushed themselves to a 1k gold lead with a comp that lost both solo lanes early due to matchups. So I think the way that IMT have been able to navigate this, considering they were up against a Jarvan, 2 losing solos with a Gwen jungle, very good sign for them moving forward. We're still looking for Golden Guardians to try and hit these early windows harder.
Just to keep you in mind, chat, if me and Cubby just start going off the rails at some point and we start making some inside jokes, it's because this has been a very tame early game. Both teams have been very controlled. Immortals Academy, they want this game to go late and late and late because you're getting so many resources into which is pretty much a quadruple threat carry composition from their side. Golden Guardians, I mean, yes, Tony Top will still be strong with more resources. Ryoma and Stixay will put out more damage. Iconic and Chime really thrive on low economy situations where they spike off 1-2 items, and that's it. They don't necessarily get any stronger because they're still going to do the same damn thing. So Golden Guardians, if you're a fan, you really want strong setups and vision controls so that you can get these flanks from Tony Top and then start accelerating the pace of the game, because otherwise Immortals Academy, they're going to play the long game with you, and that just gets super difficult for Golden Guardians to navigate through.
And it's starting to get to the point where we're really going to see how difficult that will be for Golden Guardians start to emerge. And that's because of Pretty's Corki. Getting closer to that evolved Miramana, and it does look like Pretty is going for the poke build. So a lot of magic damage on the side of Immortals.
Okay,
but
maybe a play. Chad,
Iconic
popping the
sprinting.
ghost. Iconic, now
Chad's
waiting for him to dash. Flag and drag forward. No Cataclysm. Finally comes out, and they get the burst down. That's a Chad down, and Golden Guardians up another kill.
Nice catch by Chime, who is always trying to remind us that he was originally a Thresh one-trick, 7-3 on the champion. It is his most played in Academy, and he's fishing for more death sentences as they're looking to push this advantage, but Pretty is sprinting towards the bot lane to try and save him from the dive.
No Cataclysm available, but Shockwave is still there, and they just burst through Joey. Doesn't get a chance to pop his Aftershock Keystone passive for the extra durability. Golden Guardians, though, are going to take their leave for now, waiting for this next wave to reset. They can't take the turret quite yet for first brick, but they are making great damage on Immortals Academy side.
And by stunting these recalls with the separated kills they've been able to get, they now have control over that bot river and will get a free reset for this upcoming dragon, as it is sole point for them. And river control is so important for Golden Guardians this game because the poke from Pretty, if he's able to get in that river first, it's so tough for Golden Guardians to walk into that. So let's see if they can get the Jarvan, get the Thresh synced up, and try and control this bot side river as Immortals are off of their reset first and have taken control of this real estate early.
They have to, otherwise, because with the river control being established by Golden Guardians, that gives you the safety to push up into the jungle of Immortals Academy, which allows you to set up flank wards for Unleashed Teleport. Tony Top, which he has his available, pushing out, getting that reset in right in time for this dragon.
And curiously enough, Golden Guardians is actually trying to get this priority into the river through bottom. You can see Iconic and Chime both setting up for a potential dive onto Pretty. Keep in mind, if this is successful, they will get that turret gold as well. So this is a different approach from Golden Guardians. We see both teams fight over river control by trying to go through mid. But GG are trying to go through bot, and they aren't quite able to secure it as Pretty has that package. This Dragon looks to be going over to IMT, but here comes the TP flank.
And then here's the flank ward. He has flash available. He could come straight through the pit, or it depends on where they get him. Oh, Shockwave run into both of the carries. Beautifully placed by Ryoma. They sniped out Arrow. Ryoma goes down over to Pretty. Tony Stop still needs to get into this fight, and for the flank, he has flash available, but makes the slow walk. Finally connects with the Cyclone onto Joey, and Chad takes out the jungler for Immortals Academy. Now it's just Pretty and Joey left to bite the dust because Concept is separated from the rest of the fight. Stixxay is resetting. Tony Top is setting up for Golden Guardians Academy to clean this fight up. Beautifully played.
In a close team fight that's decided by Tony Top, we teased his ability to find the flanks, find the angles. He arrives to the team fight late, but arrives just in time for Golden Guardians to knock everyone on Immortals up, and for Stixxay to knock everyone down on this Jinx, as he is the big carry. Looking forward to taking a second look at that one, as IMT does a great job of getting river control, using the package to force Golden Guardians out. And the engage from Ryoma, it's good. They take down Arrow first. He gives his life for it, and guess what? GG are okay with that, but this is where things get dicey, because it's a 3v4, because IMT turns so hard on Golden Guardians, but they don't get on Stixxay. And Stixxay plays this out really nicely as he dodges out on all the damage from Concept. He then can't rejoin on the Tony Top, and Tony Top takes everyone else out.
And it seems super difficult for a Golden Guardians Academy in that moment because Chime and Stixxay were separated, but great communication. Super Mega Death Rocket almost taking out the Rift Herald, but Chad is the one that secures it. Iconic has flash available. Flag and drag away. Keeps him safe. The rest of Golden Guardians maintaining control of this mid-wave push as the rest of Immortals Academy group to try and save it, but it might just go down before they get a chance to catch it.
I like the positioning from Chime, just making sure that Stixxay has that Lantern to get out, and he will take that mid-outer turret. Now, IMT, they were able to pick up Kelly, so if the Rift Herald drops and they can get 2 charges, that is still a worth trade for them. But Golden Guardians, removing that mid-outer turret, does open up a little bit more space for them to try and find these angles and try and make sure that next TP from Tony Top lands as well.
It was all thanks to the control of that river playing through the bottom side and getting vision. Now Ryoma might be in a difficult spot here. Pretty doesn't have CC, so if Ryoma's really pressed, TP will come out. He's out of there. It was a lot of damage that came out of Pretty, but Ryoma, he had no fear. Tony Top might need some fear, though. Has no flash available. Has Cyclone, but the Fear Beyond Death will land, and goodbye, Tony Top. That is ground monkey meat. Ooh.
I love Fear Beyond Death, man. It's one of the coolest abilities in the game.
It is so sick.
Golden Guardians, so their bot lane was on reset, but not respecting it, and IMT is going to get caught out, too.
Chime, Hex Flash over the wall, brings in Iconic with the Dark Passage, and Joey is dead, ladies and gentlemen. But Immortals Academy pushing the temple right now. They have Rift Herald thanks to Chad. Gonna knock out this second tier turret. Will this Rift Herald connect and make a push onto the inhibitor turret? Yes. Will it take it down? No. But Chad gonna delay Stixxay and Chime being able to get there, and Portal Gaming, baby, Chad is out of there.
Rinse and repeat on the top side round, but doesn't have TP this time.
Pretty's like, you don't have your get out of jail free card this time, but he has got a Shockwave, can Pretty output the damage? Yes, he does. Big rocket, baby. Iconic has a Cataclysm. Yeah, Pretty's not getting out of this one. So, 1 for 1, and the mid laners both going down, but this time Iconic is there to make sure that Ryoma at least gets something avenged for his death.
Bit of a messy mid game from each of these teams, as not quite respecting where the enemy could be, shoving out both solo lanes at each time when people aren't showing mid. It's been punished, and where we're at now is a rinse and repeat before this next Dragon, Rafa. It's a 1k gold lead for IMT. We're a minute away from the upcoming Hextech Dragon. It still is a potential soul point for Golden Guardians. And this time around, I think it's important that Immortals are not going to have Pretty's package.
Huge game-changing potential if that package is not available. Tony Top will have Unleashed Teleport on hand. The rest of Golden Guardians need to set up those flank wards, though, because right now, if you're looking at the bottom side of the river, I see one in the river. I don't see any in Immortals Academy jungle behind the Dragon Pit.
And it is a later reset from GG. So they are now getting off of that reset, and we're going to have to see if Chime and Iconic can sync up. But at the moment, IMT spot all the members of Golden Guardians, and they're actually hovering more towards this top side at the moment.
Would they trade Baron for this Dragon?
I mean,
No
I
way,
trade
right?
Baron for Dragon in a heartbeat, but
Oh, sure.
I don't know. That's a risky play for Golden Guardians, but we are at the point of the game where they are starting to get outscaled. You can see the damage from Pretty starting to get really tough for GG to deal with. And it looks like they're going to push really hard for this fight as Immortals. They're actually gaining river control through bot lane. And now Tony Top, here he goes.
He's got him right behind the tracks, and now Immortals Academy, they know that he is there. Tony Top does not have flash available, so he can't get over the pit. So as long as Concept is screening him, he actually can't get access into the fight. Chad stole the Dragon as well. This is disaster. Solar Flare is going to land on the 2. Ryoma and Chime have to immediately flash away. But now Tony Top finds the engage, flashing onto the back line with the Cyclone. Double knockup once again, but there's no damage follow-up. So Tony Top, he's really just trying to buy Golden Guardians and escape paths out of this disastrous situation. And Immortals Academy are in just a great spot right now.
It's cruise control for IMTA as nice W coming out of Gwen. She is immune, and now Stixay gonna take a Lantern out. But I think the big part of that play, the shockwave from Ryoma, it was being used after the play with Chad. He wasn't ever able to sync up with Tony Top. And a lot of that's because of the space that both Concept and Pretty are able to buy, given how tanky this Urgot is and how much poke damage Pretty is able to do with his Corki.
I was so excited about the use of portals being able to get into the backline, but as you can see in this replay, Concept playing bodyguard right now, and because there's no flash, Tony Top can't cheat by getting over the wall, so he has to walk the long way around here.
And you can see here, Tony, when he goes in, Iconic just can't follow. Concept holding down the fort, not allowing Iconic to walk up, and Iconic almost lost his entire health bar to the Urgot. As speaking of Concept,
the slow lands, they know that Ryoma doesn't have flash available, but beautifully done by Chime. Ryoma's gonna get out safely, but Portal Gaming, Electric Boogaloo number 2.
TPs?
Iconic is here trying to stop Chad from getting onto the back, but now he has to flash away. It's a lot of damage with the needlework. Stixay found a straggler though onto Joey.
This is good for GG.
Can they clean through the rest of the members here? Concept, no fear beyond death, but he gets a flash knockup. He takes out Stixay, and all the rest of Golden Guardians, they have to recuperate. Ryoma missing on the shockwave, no more burst damage, and now they are at the mercy of Arrow, who just wipes them down. Double kill to the bot laner.
And the shockwave not connecting from Ryoma turns out to be critical for IMT as Arrow steps up, takes them down, and now Immortals, they can take the Baron. They have enough damage dealers up where this melts.
Tony Top would have to pull off a miracle alongside Chime, but no TP available. He's taking the portals. He's trying to speed run over there, but Chime, he would not be able to outmatch a Smite with the Death Sentence, unfortunately, and they had no vision to begin with. So, Chad, even though he doesn't have Smite, it's all good. The rest of Mortal Academy will be able to secure the Baron. And now with 2 dragons to their name, no one on Soul Point, mainly Golden Guardians Academy. Immortals, they are now in a just absolutely fantastic point of the game where they're at the mid game. Most of their carries have 2 items, 3 items for Concept. This is so scary now for Golden Guardians.
And it's a turbo chem tank for Concept's Urgot, as I know that Concept, you know, as a player, we always tease his unique champion pool and Immortals playing around it. I know both of these teams, I think it's interesting, they're 3rd and 4th in the gold differential at 15 in the league, and both top laners are down in gold and both marksmen are up. So they kind of play a similar scenario, and it just feels like this game, honestly, both top laners kind of did their jobs, but I think the big difference is the fact that Iconic just wasn't able to make enough plays early. And I still want to go back to that kill they got on the Chad in the mid lane, seeding the Rift Herald for it, but let's talk about that after the game as Joey's getting poked out here.
Super Mega Death Rocket. They try to burst down Joey, but he's a little too damn tanky for their liking. The Golden Guardians burned only 2 ultimate abilities in both the box and Super Mega Death Rocket. Shockwave and Cataclysm still available. Cyclone also on hand. Golden Guardians making sure that they can protect this top side of the map. Iconic doing his best to sweep out Vision, but Concept is here lurking around the other side of the wall. Tony Top making his way through as well. Immortals doing a great job of just screening and protecting their carries from getting flanked right now, because ever since that one fight, I have to really give props to Immortals for just being quick learners and identifying, hey, we can never let Tony Top get access to our backline like that again.
And a lot of credit to Concept, as that is his role on the Urgot, was able to find him at that Dragon fight. And this Urgot, we're seeing why Concept is comfortable blinding his champion pool, is GG looking for an optimistic play on the Chad.
It was Ghost on the chat, no flash available, trying to dash out with the, well, whatever the dash is called. It's not enough. Chad goes down. It doesn't matter. We could call it whatever, right? He still died. However, Immortals Academy don't allow Chad's death to go down in vain. They take out the second tier turn on the top side of the map. So Golden Guardians still trying to fight for some trades in the end, and they will be here to the Dragon and be on Soul Point.
A really good find from Tony and Golden Guardians is this gives Golden Guardians that backdoor win condition. As this game starting to look grim, it's a 5k gold deficit. They get outscaled, but you know what can stop that scaling, Rafa? That's going to be the new tech that we have in League of Legends, in this Hex Tech Dragon Soul.
Yes, sir.
So, the fact that Golden Guardians are able to get to that Soul Point at this state of the game, that's a big win for them, getting that pick on the Chad. So a bit of a mistake from the young jungler of Immortals Academy. GGA properly punished.
We're going to get the AoE Shiv slow once the Soul Point is reached. However, I would argue that we're at a point of the game where Immortals Academy, if they win another big team fight and all members are up, they can just end the game. They have great ways of just destroying these turrets. Chad and Arrow will melt through them. Pretty not shy of damage either, and one could say. You know, most of it is mainly in the poke, but you know, thanks to the AP conversion on auto attacks, Pretty will also demolish these turrets swiftly. And so now Golden Guardians, they are scrambling to find ways they can push out their vision line so they can set up once again that teleport flank from Tony Top. But right now, they've got cero, nada in that bottom quadrant.
And I think Immortals, they're just going to play it chill until Baron's up, and maybe they can do some posturing there. And I think the tough part about playing against a Corki is that if you're Golden Guardians, one of your backdoor win cons is, you know, trying to sneak the Baron, or starting up Baron to try and bait the other team in to get a favorable fight, given the fact that Immortals have so much range in their composition. You can't really do that against a Corki, because that magic damage debuff you get, and then all the damage that Corki is able to pump out with those empowered rockets, it's just too much for any team composition to deal with. So I think this puts Golden Guardians in a pretty big bind, and really their only out is going to be the Dragon. And I'm curious to see if Pretty actually waits to grab that package until the Dragon, because this is now, with that increased cooldown on the package with Corki this patch, a little bit more decision-making around when you want to pull that out of your pocket or not. And I think that IMT shutting down the Soul is the most important thing they can do in this game, because I really believe it's the only way that GG gets back in.
3 minutes before it comes up. So for Immortals Academy, either they would like to end the game before then, so it's not even a question, or they can manifest some sort of pick through their vision control on the bottom side of the map right before the Dragon spawns. If they're able to take out Iconic, or at least enough members so that you have the advantage, Immortals Academy can then take the Dragon, deny Soul Point for another 5 minutes so you can buy yourself a little bit more time. But for Golden Guardians, everything is really going to be invested into this Hail Mary, which is that Soul.
Have to keep our eyes on Iconic and Tony Top, but still in the quiet portion of the game. I know the big purple worm spawning here in 20 seconds, but we expect all sights for each of these teams to be set on the Dragon, on that potential Soul for GG. As Immortals getting back out onto the Rift are actually looking. Chem Tank has been popped.
Concept.
TP.
Very fast, but now TP flank from Tony Top. Can he find Arrow? There's still double summoners onto the marksman for Immortals Academy. So it'll be very difficult for Golden Guardians to reliably get on top of him. But they now have the inside track towards the Dragon. At least establish vision control, but there's still another minute and a half for it.
That was a good dodge from the side of IMT, and you can see how much damage the Corki rockets are dealing. And they got the TP out of Tony Top, so now the Dragon setup gets all that more harder for GG, and you can see how hard they're pushing to try and find a favorable fight, because they know they don't have access to that TP for the next setup. So the fact that Immortals gets out of that is really important for them.
But big note here, they just burned Flash on Pretty and Arrow right before
that is huge.
The Dragon, and the Baron is still up. So now, Immortals Academy, either they need to fight now when there's no Cataclysm available. Did he not take package?
He did not take package. He just straight up TP'd. IMT, they're going to try and burn this on the reset.
There's still Cyclone available. Shockwave also there as well. Super Mega Death Rocket just got cast.
That's enough.
And it looks like Baron will be stopped for now. Immortals Academy just trying to pull Golden Guardians.
Yeah, Pretty should reset and grab that package right away. That's an interesting start from IMT. I think that it does now delay their setup around that dragon. And they're kind of showing that they have confidence in the fact that because they're going to have Corki package, they should be able to get control back over this river. Now, GG are still coming back out onto the map from that last skirmish. We now see the package being picked up by Pretty. Golden Guardian should have some control over this real estate at the start. We're going to have to see how IMT can fight back into this bot side river.
Golden Guardians, they have all their numbers here first. Package is available, but they get a chance to sweep out the jungle entrances through the bottom quadrant. River is completely in their favor. A cheeky little ward gets put over the pit. Golden Guardians don't really have any ways of being able to take it out. There is a control ward available. Now watch for Pretty's package here because Golden Guardians right now, they're backing up on the ramp. If they don't play this out safely, they could just get absolutely flanked going in. Iconic secures it. That's Soul now available for Golden Guardians Academy. Can they fight this one back, though? Cataclysm has come up. Watch for Arrow and Pretty, because they don't have flashes from before, but Immortals just using the package threat to give themselves the inside track to mid-wave, and now they're pinging towards the Baron.
And I think that some of the experience for Golden Guardians is showing, and some of the greenness for IMT is as well. Golden Guardians know that they're the ones that need to bait IMT into them. So they start the objective immediately so they can't get poked out. IMT don't pull the trigger and they sack the soul. And now they're trying to get the Baron in response as it is at half health.
Oh, teleport coming in from Ryoma. He's 2k HP. Iconic cannot get in there. He's already on the other side of the map. Baron has been secure for Immortals Academy, but Joey is extremely low. Doesn't have flash available. He will go down. Reset City now for 6-8. Can he clean up the rest of the fight? Iconic getting pulled in. Fear beyond death, but it only grinds up his Guardian Angel, so he'll be back up for a second time through the fight. Tony top axes onto the back line. Chad gets knocked up. Flag and Drag doesn't connect, but they still have the range, and they're diving under the tower. Double kill for Stixay, looking for one more on the Pretty. He flashes forward. He knows he has the summon advantage. He planks him up. That's the quadra for Stixay.
And everything falls apart for Immortals because they didn't pull the trigger. They don't contest the soul. Golden Guardians take them out at the Baron. And now, all of a sudden, Golden Guardians, later into the stages of this game, they've turned everything on its head as they are saying, IMT, we don't care about your poke. We don't care about your scaling. We have a Jinx comp, and all we need is one kill for Stixay to get going. And Stixay brings home 4 for Golden Guardians.
A quadra carry threat gets taken out by a quadra kill. How poetic is that for the ending, as Golden Guardians will take the first W in this series?
The setups from GG, they pay off, and Stixay pays everything off in tenfold as this coach continues to put up a Coach of the Year performance. And Golden Guardians continue to cement themselves as a team that is competing for the top of the standings in Academy. They are now in second by more than 2 games above the rest of their competition, sitting at 11 wins. 100 Thieves are at 9. Of course, have a chance to put up more on the board today. And then there's the Soup, the 5 teams at 8-8, as that was a nice win from GG. I was critical of, them not pushing the tempo, them burning a couple cooldowns to get a solo kill instead of maybe trying to set up for a big Rift Herald. But at the end of the day, they were the ones that ended up splitting up IMT, getting 1 kill at a time for Stixay, and that could have been an unofficial Penta. Did he take down Joey in the pit? Did that end up being everyone else falling at the hands of Stixay?
I think it was an assist that he got off of, and so that allowed him to get the resets in. But had he last hit Joey, or if there's someone else that he didn't necessarily secure the kill on, that feels like that should have been a Penta. But you know what? A Quadra is just as fine, and winning the game for Stixay as another one to add to his accolades as so far best coach performance in these games so far for Golden Guardians Academy. But now we're going to be moving on to our second game of the series between Immortals Academy and Golden Guardians Academy. When we come back, we're going to be joined once again by our wonderful host, Kangas. So make sure you stick around and come right back.